good afternoon. Welcome back to Girded with Truth. Thank you so much for joining us today as we end off our series in Discovering Me. Today we're really talking about who I experience, and this is based on how we show up in the earth. We have to be consistent with our own selves, and what I really mean by that is who we believe we are have to be shown in who we really are and who we extend ourselves as in the earth. And when I say who we experience, the word experience talks about practical contact with facts and events and even people. So it's based on how we present ourselves practically within the earth. Matthew chapter 22 verse 39 says, "And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." So we look at this scripture and we focus on the loving our neighbor part, but we do not focus on the fact that if we do not love ourselves, then we cannot love our neighbors the way that they ought to be loved. So here we are seeing that it begins with us. So we have to love ourselves. We have to be able to treat ourselves the right way and do the right thing before we love our neighbor the way that they should be loved or the way that they should be treated. So we have to basically know ourselves in order to love ourselves. And as we love ourselves, then we can love our neighbors the way they ought to be loved. And when we love our neighbors, then we are able to not just discover ourselves, but help them to discover themselves. And as we love ourselves and we develop ourselves, we discover an us that was not revealed in the beginning. We are able to unfold as the people God has created us to become. Ephesians chapter 4 verses 22 to 24 says, "That ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness." So God is expecting us to walk in righteousness and holiness, but He's not expecting us to just wake up one morning and be holy and righteous. He's expecting us to walk this thing out piece by piece. That's why He said that we have to put off the former conversation, and conversation in this context does not just speak about your speech, but it speaks about your behavior and your lifestyle. So He's saying to put off the old man, which is corrupted and which also has deceitful lusts. He's saying put away those things and now put on the new things, put on the new person, which is being renewed in the spirit of your mind. So He's saying put off the things that are of this world, that are connected to your flesh, and begin to do the things that are spirit-filled and spirit-led. And He's also saying it starts with the mind, because the mind is a powerful thing. The mind interprets how we view and perceive change and transformation. The mind determines the direction that we will take when we are ready to begin this journey with God. And then as we put off all those things that we have to put off, then we have to put on some things, and that thing we have to put on is the new man, the righteousness and the holiness, but not just holiness, but true holiness in God. And when we put on the righteousness, the holiness, the purity, all these things, then we are able to walk in alignment with God. And 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12 says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity." And here we are seeing what we first viewed in Ephesians as conversation being broken down. He is saying this is an explanation because we use scripture to interpret scripture. So this is an explanation of what we read in Ephesians chapter 4. And he's saying that we have to change our lifestyle, the way we speak, the way we behave, the way we love, the way we have faith, and the way we practice purity. So he's saying, do not despise what you can do in your youth, but be an example. So it doesn't matter if you are young or if you are old. Once you have the Spirit of God in you and you have experienced the new you that God has called you to become, then you have a responsibility to line up your lifestyle to what God said it ought to be. So the change is not just in your mind and in your heart. The change is not just with the way you read the Bible and pray, but the change has an external manifestation, which is the way you show up in the earth. So you have to show up in rooms representing Christ. You have to show up in rooms showing that Christ had died for you and you now believe in him, and there is a lifestyle change and transformation. So when we experience the love of God, we are able to show up in the world with the love of God inside of us, and then we experience a new us. And when we experience a new us, others can experience that new us, and we can also help others to come to the understanding of who God is and the love that God has in him, that they can now receive him and their lives can be transformed. So as we discover us, we experience a new us, but we can now show others that new us, and we can be consistent in our behavior. We can be a new person in conversation, in word, in deed, but most of all in lifestyle, because there needs to be consistency and not hypocrisy. So as we go into this journey where we discover ourselves, we experience a new us. So today, as we experience a new us, let us also externally and practically understand what a new us looks like and walk this thing out throughout our life. Let us have a new lifestyle as we discover us and walk into our destiny. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.